Welcome to Sweetheart Survivals. I'm Charla.
I'm Justin.
Today we're going to be doing a list video.
Yep.
What list are we going to do?
The top 5 games that Charla really wanted to get that I had no interest in getting.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Yep. All right, number 5. Games that Charla really wanted that I had no interest in is the Great Heartland Hauling Co. I keep trying to say Trucking Co. But the Great Heartland Hauling Co.
I don't understand why you didn't like that game. When I saw the review for it from, I think it was Joel Eddy, it looked awesome. Pick up delivery, cute little trucks, board that would be different each time. Sounded right up my alley.
There you go. The reason I wasn't all that interested in this game is because it looked bland.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it had those cute little pink pigs in it.
Cute little pink pigs. Yeah. I don't know. It looked like a very, very basic pickup and delivery game, and I don't mind pickup and delivery as long as that's not the main focus and there's something exciting and interesting about it. And this didn't look like it had it at all. So that's why I wasn't interested in getting it. And then we got it.
Right.
The reason I came to like it quite a bit is because, like you said, the map is different every time. There are a lot of levels to the game, so you can start off with a very basic game, which is enjoyable, and then you can start flipping the cards over to the more difficult, which adds a whole bunch of things like roadblocks and stuff like that. So suddenly the board that's already changing a lot becomes more interesting, and it comes with the expansion where you can get special abilities. Special abilities are awesome. So it takes that central pickup and delivery and suddenly adds a whole bunch of layers to it.
Right.
The other reason why I really like it is because that basic pickup and delivery mechanic is not that basic at all. It starts off very basic. I'm going to pick up pigs where they're cheap, and I'm going to bring them over here where I can make the most money. But after about 2 or 3 turns, suddenly all the pigs are not where they're cheap, they're where they're expensive, and suddenly you got to figure out where else can you make money with them.
Yeah, it's kind of like pickup and delivery with like a supply and demand kind of thing.
Yeah. And that takes a very basic pick up and deliver and changes it up in a really unique way.
Yeah.
And that's why I came to really enjoy the Great Heartland. There's a lot of game in this little box.
That's a tiny box.
Yeah, a lot of game. And we've played it a couple times with the 2 of us, and then other player counts, and it tends to like scale really well. Yep. Anyway, that's why I came to like this one.
Awesome.
It's a good game. Number 4 in games that I didn't want to get but Charla did is Sushi Go.
Sushi Go?
Yep, Sushi Go.
That's the cutest game ever.
Yeah, that doesn't really grab my interest that much. Oh my god, it's so cute!
Set collection and drafting and cutest game ever.
Okay. I do enjoy drafting. I really like 7 Wonders because of the drafting part. And I saw Sushi Go and thought, well, there's going to be a game that's going to be like way, 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 way scaled back and just way too simple. And so I didn't have a lot of interest in it. But I thought, it's cheap, it's inexpensive, it's
gonna make me happy.
It's gonna make her happy. Yeah, that works. But also because it would be a really quick game, so I wouldn't mind playing it that much. So that's why I really didn't have any interest in it, and I've come to appreciate it because it is just a really quick, fun set collection with many different ways to kind of get those points, and because it's so quick. And the cards, yes, they're cute, but they're so, like, the iconography is so, like, you can just see it and know.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Yeah, you really don't have to try to interpret stuff really in a difficult way. So, and there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of pick up points.
Yeah.
And I think because that iconography is so clear and just, you get it like that, when you get your set of cards and you know what's going to go next, it's very easy to glance around and know what you should be taking, what's going to be a risk to take, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes that set collection and drafting, and it kind of distills it into a very, very clean, easy game with lots of great decisions.
Yeah.
So that's why I've really started to enjoy Sushi Go. And it is super quick too, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Number 3 of the games that I had no interest in getting. Maharani.
I can understand why you would have no interest in that. A
Um,
tile laying game
yeah.
about a mosaic palace.
Yeah.
It sounds very girly.
Well, I enjoyed, like, Carcassonne. Carcassone's awesome, and it's tile laying, so I'd be like, oh, do we really need another tile laying game?
Yes.
Yes, I guess we do. But the reason I can't, like, we've only played it a few times,
Mm-hmm.
but I've enjoyed it a lot when we play it.
Me too.
And one of the reasons why is it has that, I'm facing like this way, and Charla will be on the opposite side facing me, and there's the 4 tiles in the middle of the board.
Mm-hmm.
When it's my turn, I've got to rotate them so they're pointing towards, like, their orientation is correct for me, which completely changes where they can be placed on the board.
Right.
And then you've got to switch them around to your orientation,
Mm-hmm.
which again completely changes, like, that. I don't know, that for some reason it just intrigues me, and it's very interesting.
Yeah. It's almost like you're doing one of those IQ test things.
Yeah.
Because you have to look at the tile for yourself, but then you also have to flip them upside down in your mind and see, like, what can fit for your partner too,
Yeah.
or your opponent too.
So when it's like your go, I'm trying to figure out what I can do. I got to keep remembering, flip them around, because
Yeah.
they'll be in different quadrants and they'll be different facing.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to playing this with like 4 players, because then it's, instead of just me and you
Right.
with orientation, it's
'Cause
4
it's-
people that you're trying to orient all the tiles around. Yeah, very, very cool tile laying orientation puzzle-y game.
Yeah.
Yeah, very quick, very fun. Maharani. No, I did number 4. Number 2. Number 2 is Forenza.
Really?
Yep,
I
Forenza.
thought you wanted that one too.
Meh.
I can't remember what review it was. It was probably Rado, I think.
Possible.
I watched the first one of this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need it. Like, one review, and I was like, that is a game I need to have.
How come?
Because of the tower pieces,
Mm-hmm.
which is a puzzle and building, and then, you know, cashing them in for your points.
Yeah.
But then you also had those cards that you had that really hard decision where you had to buy them with your tower pieces.
Yeah.
So you could buy something really cheap and not waste any of your towers, or if a really good card was going to come up, you'd have to sacrifice a lot of your pieces just to get it.
Yes.
So your opponent can't get it.
And when I was watching the review and stuff, all I saw was we're building little towers with little tiny tower pieces. Meh. And you don't even get to keep them. It's like, hey, I've built this tower, and then you take the pieces and put them back in the bag, and then you get like a point. Yeah.
You get more than one point.
Some points. It didn't appeal to me, and then we got it and we set it up and we played, and creating the towers is cool because you have the choice of what materials you're going to use.
Mm-hmm.
What you're talking about with the cards is really good. I love that kind of. We have several games with it where the stuff that is kind of running down the line is cheaper, but if you want that card that's going to come down the line later, you can get it now, but it's more expensive, and that was kind of neat. But what made that really awesome was there are a bunch of event cards that kind of just stick it to you. So it's like there's some take that aspect to the game, but it's the game saying take that to you and not to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah,
kind of neat.
that's true.
And that makes those decisions even more difficult because there could be like a really bad card that gets in that spot that is free
And it could be there for like
a while.
ever.
And because you're
Could have, like,
paying to go past it with pieces, it starts to collect
Could have like
more and
10
more
pieces.
bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like, oh, do I take that really horrible thing and get all those pieces I really need?
Mm-hmm.
So there's those decisions which are great.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of take that against each other with some of the cards, but they're not horrible.
Really, yeah.
They're
not
nice, but they're
bad.
not horrible. And none of them are like, I've just made it incredibly hard for you. It's I've made it a little bit hard for you to make it a little bit easier for me, which is always easier to take than just, take that and deal with it.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
And then there's a part of it where when you're building your towers, if you can't build on one of your colors, like you always have to plan ahead to have enough tiles to at least build one on each tower each round.
Right. Yeah.
Or you're going to lose half of that tower, right, to the bag?
Yeah. Every round, if you started to build a tower and every round you don't get to at least build it one more level up, the whole tower gets like demolished about halfway down.
Yeah.
And you lose a bunch of bricks.
There's so many things you have to consider on your turn it's just those awesome decisions.
And then what kind of took it over the top to make it one of the best games that you have wanted to get that I didn't, and now I've come to really like it, is when you're building the towers, there's like this area control, area majority.
Which I always forget about in the game. Yeah.
And that is a ton of points at the end of the game that you really have to kind of keep an eye on.
You have to balance it out.
And then there's 4 of them that are like bonus points, and they're at different levels. And you have to do them in order. So if you want that first bonus one, you've got to get it before anyone can claim the second bonus.
Yeah, and it changes every game.
So it's funny because you're building the pieces or the towers with these little pieces. So it's almost like this kind of spatial recognition. But then it branches out into, if I do this and this turn, and then I'm going to get that tower with that bonus, which will unlock the next bonus, which I'm already starting on over here because it's a little bit higher. Like all of that. Yeah. Makes it an incredible puzzle. Yeah. So that's why Forenza is my number 2 of games that I didn't want, that you did, that I have come to enjoy. Like. Yeah.
And we actually played that on a Twitch Tuesday.
Yeah.
So do a search for that on our channel, and you can see a full playthrough.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing, of course, is it's just quick. It's easy setup and just quick to play.
Yeah, I think it's less than an hour.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So my number one game that I had absolutely no interest in getting, but got for you and have come to love. And that is... What's that?
What could it be?
Oh. It is Rococo.
The fancy dress party game.
Fancy dress party game. And right off... No. Why did you want to get it?
I wanted to get it because of the whole resource management, and you're making cute little dresses. And then you're using the dresses to gain the favor of the king, and then throw a great big fancy dress party.
So is most of the appeal like the theme?
I guess so, but also like with the thread and the silk and the what's the other resource? Lace. Yeah. I really enjoy that kind of gathering resource management kind of to make something, to gain something. I really like that kind of mechanic in a game. Okay. Theme doesn't hurt though.
And honestly, theme was one of the major reasons why I had no interest in the game. It's about throwing a fancy dress party. You are making fancy dress or dresses and fancy dress for guys, and then you're also helping create a fancy dress party. And that really I have no interest in that whatsoever. Yeah. At all. What has really captured my enjoyment of the game is just how amazingly well every single mechanic in this game fits that theme. They don't feel like mechanics. They feel like they make sense. Like, if I'm going to become a better maker of dresses, I need to go get better people to help me make the dresses. Right. If I want to get like the really awesome dresses, I need to go get the awesome materials to make them and set one of my masters to do it. Right. All of that makes total thematic sense. And even though I don't I can't wait to feel like I'm a fancy dressmaker. Yeah. It is one of the best games to actually kind of make you feel like you are that role. On top of that, there are a collection of game mechanisms that don't seem like they would fit well together, and they fit seamlessly in a really unique way. So there is the resource management. There's that line of dress patterns that they're cheaper on as they come down the line, or you can pay more to get them up the line before they get cheap if you want to snag them. Yeah. There's actually some deck building involved. You have all your employees, and so you can build on that deck to get better and better employees.
Yeah.
And then one of the reasons this is what pushes it over the top is one of my favorite games that I had no interest in is the area control of the party.
Yeah.
That is cutthroat.
I don't generally like area control games,
Yeah.
but in this one it doesn't seem horrible.
Yeah, it's
like I just need to get more guests there than he does. Yeah.
Thematically, it's not horrible or violent or bloody. It's not like you're sending people out to kill each other or anything like that. But at the same time, fighting over the best spots becomes such a focus of the game. And when you snag a spot out from someone, it's like you're just like, oh, I can't believe you got that.
Well, it's just like you said, it's not bloody or anything, but in
Yeah.
your imagination, you can just see all these people with all their updos and their fancy dresses and getting into some great big cat fight.
Yeah, and somebody
Pulling their
slips
hair
into
and scratching their eye.
somebody slips into that spot next to the king, and you're just like, oh my,
Scandal.
scandal.
Yeah.
So it's funny. It's thematic. The mechanisms are amazing. They mesh well, amazingly in such a unique way, and it's like this cutthroat area control game, and it all works just so well.
Yeah.
So that's why Rococo is the game I had no interest in that we got, and I think this is the one that I enjoy the most out of all of them. Yeah, that's my number one pick.
Cool.
So those are the top 5 games that you really wanted. I did not, that we got, and I've come to enjoy.
Right. Now on my list, I have 2 games that you wanted so bad, you made me watch all these reviews, and then it finally convinced me. Is there any games like that I bugged you that I finally won you over by making you watch a ton of reviews?
That I knew I was going to like before we got them?
Yeah. But you thought at first, that's a stupid game. Why do I have to keep watching like 6 reviews on this?
Okay. So yeah, wasn't prepared for that question.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. But after glancing over our board game collection, 2 games that I didn't have any interest in, but then after you making me watch reviews, I became interested in before we bought them.
Right.
Okay. So, number 1, no, we'll start with number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, number 2, we'll go up to the better ones. Anyway, number 2 would be Manila.
Manila?
Yep. Manila did not seem like a very interesting game to me, and it was out of print, and it didn't catch my interest or
those cute
anything.
wooden boats and all those cute little meeples with their little triangle hats, and it's gambling.
And that's why after watching several reviews and knowing what the game was actually about, it just like you, it became one of just like you, it became one of my Grail games. Yeah, and we've since got it, and it does not disappoint. No. So the number 1 game out of 2 that you convinced me we should get by watching reviews would be Vikings.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I would expect a Viking game to be violent and probably Amera thrashy and not that interesting.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. And after watching a review with all the unique mechanisms that really have nothing to do with any kind of violence. I mean, there's a little bit with the boats, but it's not violent in any way at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. After watching that, I was like, yeah, we got to get that. That looks amazing.
Yeah, I remember watching that review very vividly for the first time. It was a Rada one.
Yeah.
And when he explained how you bought Vikings and tiles and the rondel, like, he probably explained that within the first, I don't know. I was going to say 3 or 4 minutes, but knowing Rado, it was probably 10 or 12 minutes. But anyway, I was like, need it, top of the list, want it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, great game.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that is my list of games I was interested in.
And that random question I asked him.
And the random question that Charla asked that took me by surprise.
Yeah.
And that's my list.
Awesome.
And then we're going to do your list next.
Yeah, so
Yay.
we'll set it up for the next one.
Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time.
Laters.